Yes, we are live. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're just going live right now. We're waiting for the numbers to pop up to see who all is joining us. But मुजफ्फर से मैं अभी यही कही थी, मुजफ्फर ये टॉपिक ऐसा है कि इसमें सुबह से मैं भी बाल बना रही हूँ, not feeling good enough. And I thought when I go here, I'm basically going to have a conversation with a fellow therapist, although I'll tell you, Muzaffar is much more than that as well. But in my last decade, or actually last 5 years, since I've been into the field of therapy, जब मैं सोचती हूँ मेरी soul feed कहाँ से मिलती है, it's when I'm hanging out with fellow therapists. So I'm pretty relaxed. I know this conversation will go deeper places and fun places. Welcome to Candid Conversations, Muzaffar.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for agreeing to this, and thank you for agreeing to have on your face it's written I am not good enough. Thank you for being so secure about that.
We are being courageous today.
We are being very courageous. And Muzaffar is also the founder of one of the schools जिसका सबसे ज़्यादा चर्चा मैंने सुना है, VLC, Veritas. I know people whose kids go there. They speak of it like so amazingly, and it's breaking stereotypes. It's really doing something different. और मुजफ्फर से जब मेरी बात की और मुझे पता चला कि मुजफ्फर एक किसी जगह जाकर अपने अंदर जाकर उन्होंने इस कॉन्सेप्ट को निकाला था, इट मेक्स टोटल सेंस. बट टुडे वी आर नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट VLC. We talk about something different. We're talking about we're talking about being good enough. एंड ये मैं कह अगर मैं इसको समझाऊँ थोड़ा सा कॉन्सेप्ट को कि जो मुझे लगा कि इसलिए मैंने उस मुजफ्फर को बुलाया कि ये वो रोग है जो हर दिल को लगता है एट सम पॉइंट. And I feel it. I'm sure a lot of other people feel it. And so today we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to ask Muzaffar to sort of like navigate with me and explain कि ये कहाँ से आता है, कैसे आता है. So Muzaffar, before we even start that, how do you feel about this topic? And over to you.
So Aruj, as I said, that this is a courageous topic, and the reason being that I think at some point in our lives, it's a very common human experience, and
Yes.
and it starts from a very, very young age. So there's a lot of innocence to this as well, in the
Yeah.
sense that the feeling of not feeling good enough starts off at a very unconscious level when we don't
Yeah.
even know that we are feeling it. And
Yeah.
and when we were discussing about this, brainstorming about this topic, I said something about it's like a voice.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like the voice of not being good enough. And I think
Yeah.
it starts from pretty much when we are born, and how we start getting compared from literally like the first 30 minutes we start getting compared. इसका कलर से मिलती है, उससे मिलती है, ये होता है, वो होता है, इसका रंग ऐसा है, इसके बॉडी में बाल ज्यादा हैं, कम है, लंबा बच्चा है, छोटा बच्चा है, कितने पाउंड्स का है, all those kind of things, right? So we are being compared from as soon as we are born, and then we start comparing. First we are compared, and then we start comparing, and it's something which parents are doing unconsciously all the time as well. So if you think of between siblings and their own biases जो उनके होते हैं, जो उनकी और खुद की जो ख्वाहिशात हैं जो कि पूरी नहीं हुई हैं, वो अपने बच्चों में देखना चाहते हैं. So they want them to excel more and more. So फिर हम लोग वहाँ से जब 2-3 साल का बच्चा स्कूल जाता है तो वहाँ पे भी there is a lot of comparison of sorts, who's better in the sports field, who's doing better in academics and the grades. In joint families, cousins, it's another big breeding ground as well. And again, it's not done in a with the intention is not to harm us or to harm the child.
Quite on the contrary, actually.
Exactly, it's as I said, it's a very at an unconscious level. It's a very basic human desire that we all want our kids to excel, right? And one of the benchmark of excelling is seeing how well my child is doing as compared to other kids. And then this comparison, so Joe bacha, let's say, if you just look at academically, is doing better. तो उसको पूरी जिंदगी ये प्रेशर होगा कि I am good because of my academics, and if I don't get the results, I'm not good enough. So that's one side. And the other side is that the child who's not doing well academically is like, I'm not no good at all. So uski aur jitni bhi for example, खूबियां or their own credentials or anything of that matter is not no I mean is not taken into account for him to realize his own self-worth. And this
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
relationship is basically the connection with oneself, right?
yeah,
शुरू में जब बच्चा चलना भी सीख रहा होता है, जो चीज नई नई कर रहा होता है, he always looks around and looks for approval from their parents, right?
yeah,
And there is this thing, and there's the eye contact which the parents make with the child to say, "You're doing good. I have your back. Go ahead. You're
yes,
safe," and all those kind of things, right? और अगर हम पेरेंट्स उसी कहें नहीं 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 यहाँ ना जाना, ये ना करना, वो ना करना, तुम ये करोगे, ये क्यों तुमने तोड़ दिया? They try and experiment. उनके accidents होते हैं, and वो accidents are not taken, so the child completely withdraws, right?
yeah,
And then the child starts seeing, okay, how do I get my parents' approval? Because जो बच्चे, हर बच्चा का biggest fear is fear of abandonment. That's one of our core biggest fears,
yes,
right?
yes,
So we think that as kids we will feel कि अगर हम लोग are not, if we are not good enough, and when you say good enough, we are not up to what our parents are wanting us to be or expecting us to be, we will be abandoned or we will not be loved.
yeah,
So
yeah,
this is our way to gain love and our parents' approval, and then from our parents' approval to our extended family, and then from the extended family to the society, to the school, the teachers, the society, everything, right? So we just continue growing up with it, and the weight of this not good enoughness keeps piling.
yes,
जब तक we realize कि what is it going on, because this voice is so constant
yeah,
that अगर कहीं कमरे में शोर हो रहा होता है तो you get so used to that कि आपको वो शोर लगता भी नहीं है.
हाँ, exactly. मगर अगर वो बल्कि आप कहीं और जाएं तो आपको लगेगा कुछ गड़बड़ है.
So that's why
नहीं हो रहा.
we have to kind of get conscious about, like, we have to get conscious कि what is happening there, right? And it shows up in a lot of ways, Aruj, like in the sense, like if we look, I mean, we've had an offline discussion,
yes,
like I've struggled with being a people pleaser in the sense, right?
Yeah.
For me, like saying no was a big issue. And where it was coming from is that, if people are not happy with me, my good enoughness will get triggered, right? Or for example, peer pressure when we are in the teenage years, and the kind of rebellion which we are showing up and everything, where the friends are doing this, I want to do this and this and that, and then it starts from innocent toys से लेके आपकी जो material जो जितनी भी desires हैं, a lot of it is not that I need them, a lot of it is basically because that kind of gives us that false illusion that I'm good.
Because I have these things. So I'm going to pause you and sort of like recap a little bit, और एक question भी आया है. तो you are saying, so good enoughness की जो concept भी है वो comparison से आ रहा है. यानी कि compare good enough as opposed to what? So good enough like the other person, good enough as what दुनिया कह रही है. जैसे मेरा बड़ा भाई है, एक ये बात जो मैंने pick की है. And that's what's another interesting thing that you said is you use the example of academic कि अगर कोई एक चीज से tie कर दिया जाए बच्चे की good enoughness, तो फिर वो उसके ऊपर dependent co-dependency हो जाती है, सहारा, मतलब that's it. अगर ये सही है तो मैं सही हूँ, और अगर God forbid that pillar moves, then does the whole self-esteem shake?
So the self-esteem in itself, what is self-esteem? So let's first, because this is a very word which we use a lot, right? Yes. So self-esteem kya hai? Self-esteem is basically my relationship with myself, connection to oneself. How do I view myself? So हम जो कहते हैं कि low self-esteem है, that means that my relationship with myself is very wobbly. And high self-esteem is, that means that no matter कुछ यानी कोई failure हो, आपके कुछ भी जिंदगी में उतार चढ़ाव होता है, तो आपकी जो relationship to yourself, if it's strong, it will not move and shake, and you will not collapse, basically, right? So that's how. So the not good enoughness is coming from a place of low self-esteem. Because आपका वो बच्चे का relationship बन ही नहीं सका अपने आप से, because what's happening is कि whatever the child is getting self-worth from, जिसे हम कहते हैं validation, वो validation external चीजों से आ रही है, ठीक है? तो for example, the report card is one, extracurricular is another one, and then
height कितनी है, growth कितना है, weight कितना है, color कैसा है.
And there are some gender differences in some societies in it, right? So for example, like अगर So agar, the women, our physical attributes are something which
Yeah.
are very much, kind of taken into account in terms of their good enoughness, and it's a
Yeah.
subtle cues which they keep guess hearing from their parents or the society at large. And then if you look
Yeah.
at the men, it's like their masculinity or
Yeah.
their physical, their strength, and then that strength then comes in down to their financial stability, right? Okay, how well
Yeah.
can they provide? What's their
Yeah.
job title?
Yeah.
So
And so, Muzaffar, I didn't mean to dismantle you with a question pop up all of a sudden. मगर just ये question आया because जो तुम कह रहे हो इसी से related है. ये कह रही हैं कि we are saying, isn't that with other relationships या सिर्फ parents? Like, so how critical is the parental role, and
yeah.
are other relationships also in play here?
So it starts again. Parents are the first base relationship.
Yeah.
उस रिलेशनशिप के बेस के बाद आहिस्ता आहिस्ता आपके और रिलेशनशिप एक्सटेंड होते जाते हैं. तो उसके बाद ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स, सिबलिंग्स, फुप्पोज, चाचा, खाला,
Yeah.
खालाएं, और like all those like family, and then
Yeah.
the neighbors, and then the society. Society इन चीजों से बनती है ना. मगर
Exactly.
बचपन के अंदर our first primary relationship is the parents, and then of course teachers play a very important role into this
Yeah.
whole thing, right? Like the
Yes.
way ये अच्छा बच्चा है, ये बुरा बच्चा है. How do we define अच्छा बच्चा and बुरा बच्चा?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's
Exactly.
the criteria of
Yeah.
of that?
And so it's
And
interesting. What you're saying is that if parent is a base
yeah,
relationship, तो अगर ये base strong है, दुनिया तो कहेगी, right? तो अगर
yeah,
ये base strong है, so I guess the kid might do better. यानी कि जब उसको वो
for sure.
comparison बड़े होकर मिलता है.
मगर इसमें जो there is an intergenerational theme attached to it, right? So basically, कहने का मकसद ये है कि अगर, for example, the parents have not been able to,
Yeah.
overcome this not own good enoughness, right? So if they are coming from an insecure place,
Yeah.
if they are feeling I'm not good enough, that feelings get projected on their kids. That is why a lot of times the parents want to kind of borrow self-esteem from the kid. If mera bachcha agar first aata hai, and it happens with me all the time also, like agar, for example, if my daughter is excelling in school, I want to show off about it. I want to be like,
Yeah.
oh, look, like my daughter has made this art piece and this is so amazing. And the
Yes.
thing is, if my child misbehaves, or if my child is like showing something which is not approved by the society or meeting the standards which has been set by at the larger
Yeah.
scheme, of course, like as parents, my own good enoughness is triggered, right? I feel I am failing
Yeah.
because my child is not achieving, so it's a personal failure.
Yeah.
So the cycle continues.
So आप दे दे बच्चे को आगे, लेकिन अगर आपका अपना मटेरियल नहीं सॉल्व हुआ होगा, तो आप ना चाहते हुए भी वो पास ऑन करेंगे.
That's the sad reality.
Yes.
जो कहते हैं ना कि are we born with it? No, we are not born with it, but we are born in it.
Yes. और मैं जंप नहीं करूंगी कि हम इसको कैसे रिजॉल्व कर सकते हैं, because that's the last bit of
Of course,
it. हमने ये बात की थी मुजफ्फर कि हम इस पे सीरीज चला सकते हैं, और मुझे जो लोगों ने पोस्टर के रिस्पांस में भी कहा, उन्होंने भी कहा कि ये इतना वास्ट टॉपिक है कि हम कहाँ से छेड़ें, हम तो इसी बात पे कर सकते हैं, राइट, कि क्या है. लेकिन हम वी गोना मूव टू द नेक्स्ट लेग, हैविंग अंडरस्टूड हाउ इट्स बोर्न, व्हिच इज हाउ डज इट शो अप. सो अब जब हो गया नॉट गुड इनफनेस की वॉइस आपके अंदर चली गई, क्रिटिकल वॉइस आ गई, अब हम इर्द गिर्द जब हम देखते हैं बच्चों को, बड़ों को, सो व्हाट आर सम ऑफ द वेज that this not good enoughness shows up? Yeah. What does it look like?
Sure. So let me give you some sort of, like, I already talked about, like, behaviors of the child and,
Yes.
and the person, like, for example, like people who are people pleasers.
Yes.
Or perfectionists ko aap le lein. For example, people who are so perfectionist in the sense they cannot make mistakes. Then because they cannot make mistakes, they don't want to kind of do anything about it also.
Yes.
So they come in their own success, not being taking risks, because they're like, okay, if I take risk and if I fail, so my not good enoughness will show up, right?
Yes.
Sometimes we self-sabotage because of this. So for example, when things are going too well, we ask that, wait, I don't deserve this.
Yes. ऐसा तो नहीं होगा ना.
ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है मेरे साथ? So something is missing. So
yes,
that feeling of, and then we do something or the other, be it if you're in a healthy relationship or you're doing very well at your job or anything like that. something or the other, and you start hearing this voice. You start hearing the
Yes.
voice of I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. So you unconsciously and sometimes consciously you do something which kind of
Yeah.
proves, see, I was right.
Yeah.
So this dialogue which you're having with the voice with you, which is accompanying you
Yeah.
all the time, kind of keeps like haunting us. And this voice sometimes can be very innocent also. So हम लोग उनको ऐसे लगता नहीं है. It almost seems that they're trying to protect us.
Yeah.
इसीलिए अगर आप देखा जाए तो like participating अगर अगर ग्रुप में लोग बात कर रहे होते हैं तो what will people think if तो वो आवाज आती है. So people not taking initiative because if it's rejected,
Yes.
then not
Yes.
good enough is triggered again because it comes
Yeah.
from like, see, I told you you're not good enough, right?
And I want to bring in
Yeah.
Pakistan's favorite slogan right here.
तो
Log
क्या
kya kahenge?
कहेंगे? Of course, that's a
Good.
very not good enough. It grows on not good enough, right? Because we
Yes.
need people's approval
Yeah.
to kind of say that, we are good, or
Yeah.
people think we are good.
Yes, हाँ. गुड
You
भी
know,
नहीं, परफेक्ट, राइट? बिकॉज मैं खुद अपनी कोचिंग में ये बात अपनी कोच से कर रही थी कि वो मुझसे कही थी कि तुम बहुत परफेक्शनिस्ट हो. मेरे लिए ये इतनी शॉकिंग बात थी. मैं कहा मैं और परफेक्शनिस्ट, मैं तो बिल्कुल ही लाइक कहाँ परफेक्शनिस्ट और मैं तो बिल्कुल फुल आई एम द एपिटोम ऑफ mediocrity, राइट? लेकिन बट शी एंड देन शी मेड मी रियलाइज दैट आहा कि तुम जो एक वो चेस करती हो उस गोल को जो कि कभी नहीं मिलेगा. So it's not even being good enough. It's like you have to get better. And because she asked me like, if you get this goal, will you be happy? I said, of course not. What's the next goal is right up ahead. And then I realized it myself कि हाँ ये क्या चीज़ है.
when I was working on my own not good enoughness, right, and what I discovered was that it is like a void. It's like an empty, जैसे कहते हैं ना कुआं है, और उसमें
हाँ.
आप चीजें डालते रहेंगे. So for example, like when I sent you my profile and you said, मुजफ्फर तुम तो बहुत पढ़े लिखे हो,
हाँ.
and the reason for so much पढ़ा लिखा and everything is also again एक तो शौक है, मगर also like it's like continuously doing, achieving more and more to kind of keep up.
Yeah.
Till we burn out and we completely crash, right? So
Yes.
so the idea is that achievement junkies आप ले लें तो इसमें भी good enoughness का. I'm not saying everyone who's got achievements is not. So please don't
Yes.
I'm not making blanket statements, but I'm just showing you some signs for us to kind of see for us to see कि ये वाकई what is being playing up, what's happening at an unconscious level. So being very achievement junkies कह लें, praise के बगैर, if you're getting praise you're thriving, otherwise you cannot function.
Or
likes, of course, that's the modern way of showing praise.
Yes.
The other thing
LinkedIn ने भी likes introduce कर दिया. I can't believe it.
they realize that that's what people need,
Yes, exactly.
Otherwise,
right?
yes. What the other thing we also see is the people who are living in toxic relationships, for example, and having lack of boundaries. Poor boundaries के नहीं कि उनके साथ आप जाति भी कर लें, कोई नहीं इसका कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता इसको, kind of a thing. That friend of yours, people, everyone makes fun of, but the friend still is very nice, and the friend will never say step up for themselves, right?
Yeah. Who am I to say no to something?
Exactly.
Who am I to ask for के मेरी space है मत आओ? Like how dare I ask that question?
Exactly.
मैं तो good enough नहीं हूँ.
At least I'm included. At least I'm invited.
Exactly. Oh my God, I felt that so many times.
And
पैसा भी demand करने में, right? How can I demand a certain money, certain fees? Because like somebody's always better than me.
Yes. I've seen it sometimes. Like people are so good at their work. Are like never, when it comes to salary negotiations, they'll never like step up because that confidence with themselves is a bit like wobbly.
Yes.
Then if you look at addiction, Aruj, addiction is a big one, and of course addiction एक तो substance abuse की कह लें, जिसमें like for example there's alcohol, drugs, and other things also. वो भी is a numbing mechanism, right? Because you're feeling, it's so painful to feel this. It's so painful to hear this voice and not being able to silence it. To numb it, people get into substance abuse. So addiction is definitely one of the signs of this non-good enoughness thing. Then anxiety and depression is another big one. So for example, when I work with my clients, and most of like a lot of our clients like have felt this. So the social anxiety hoti hai.
Yes.
My clients tell me that they go in a social place and they don't want to go because what will people think, and they start going on the phone all the time.
Exactly.
Phone addiction itself is, like the Facebook pe jo mindless आप scrolling और वो सब कर रहे हैं, is also addiction.
Yeah.
Retail therapy आप ले लें, for example, a lot of times I know when we keep shopping and we keep buying newer shoes and newer bags and newer suits and whatever we are buying,
anything to make us feel good enough. शायद ये
पहन के और ये होके I'll have that acceptance. Maybe if I carry this thing, I will be accepted in that group, or people will think good of me, right? So basically, we're looking at creating external facades, So that's another way of how this shows up. It shows up in conversations, it shows up in our attitude, it shows up.
And also, when you said attitude, Muzaffar, attitude bola to, it's not just the person who's shaky, but we know that it's also the person who appears to be really cocky and full of himself or herself. So how they project that not good enoughness onto other people. So that's very important too, because चलो ये बच्चा जो हम माँ बाप या कोई भी सोचे कि ये adults जो के and I keep giving that example of Ranveer Kapoor from the Tamasha movie, who's like, and as an adult, he's like chukawa or subservient and yes man. And so I'm happy that you're also having tea, coffee.
My mouth is
exactly. So वो जो है, वो तो है, but उसके अलावा also not good enoughness is the narcissist. And do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I mean, it is a projected insecurity, right? So basically, you elevate your self-image so much that no one can see, can see you. So I'm so good and I'm so this and I have all these achievements and I can't stop talking about myself. Just self-esteem hoti hai na, and this is something which I love, the way of looking at self-esteem. A healthy self-esteem, there is healthy self-esteem. एक extreme पे narcissism है और एक extreme पे shame है. Shame is that I am very bad, and narcissism, we all have a little bit of healthy narcissism. That's fine. मगर एक वो जो grandiosity जो आ जाती है कि I'm the best, and it's living in a bubble, because if you kind of prick it, your whole world collapses.
Yes, exactly. And
so
you're like, it's tricky, it's not black or white, it's tricky, and that's the work. So we have a few questions and I want to bring them on. Okay, so Maria is asking, how do we cope with such demanding parents? She sent us when we were still talking about कि माँ बाप जो बच्चे पे एक प्रेशर और एक कंपैरिजन का डाल रहे होते हैं कि ऐसे करो, जैसे कि मेरे अब्बू, I love him, like he only wants the best for us. और मुझे जो याद है ना, वो याद है कि जब हम लेके आते थे A grade, तो अब्बू smile and said, बेटा A+ क्यों नहीं आया? जब B आता था तो बेटा A क्यों नहीं आया? Like अब्बू मुझे, like I'm getting like 300,000 at the job, बेटा why didn't you ask for 325,000? And now that when I have, and full देख रही होंगी मम्मा मेरी कहेंगी full तुम सारी disclose कर दो, और अब्बू को मैं देखूं तो he himself always settled, always was, and we are a replica of him now, but he wanted us to be different so anyways, that was a little disclosure. But Maria is saying, so how do we cope with such demanding parents?
I think parents ही काफी मजबूर होते हैं, like living in an unconscious state where they're not aware of what kind of, how the child would take it. So when if I look at your dad, he's trying to help you out by making you become better and better.
Exactly.
Magar, the thing is that when we hear this and this information goes to us, it doesn't come off as kind or
like मेरे लिए तो नहीं, अपने लिए कर रहे हैं.
Yes. So in this question of how to cope with such demanding parents is that when we grow up, we kind of realize this. As kids, it's very difficult to to
Yeah.
realize, because we are a child ourselves, right? But when we
Yes.
grow up and we start doing self work on ourselves, we kind of realize that
Yeah.
some of the demands which my parents were making were not my wishes. This is not what I want to do. This is
Yeah.
actually my parents' material. And you
Yes.
start learn how to separate that. And you
Yes.
separate that with a lot of love and compassion for yourself and also for your parents as well,
Yes.
because all their intentions were at the right place. Like they wanted the best for
Yeah.
us, right?
Yeah.
But then they didn't even know what the best is for us.
Yes.
And I think it's not a coping mechanism of dealing with such demanding parents. It's a way of letting go of their voices out of our
Yes.
head and creating a boundary, you know.
Yes.
You think that boundaries only
Exactly.
for outsiders. No, boundaries सबसे ज़्यादा पहले boundaries हमारी क्या कहते हैं, हमारे सबसे close
अपने
relation में,
जो जो हमारे अंदर आते हैं उन्हीं से होती है ना,
because
सड़क
that's
पे
the one
चलते हुए से तो
who,
नहीं होगी, हाँ.
who we interact with the most. And boundaries की
Yes.
definition very simple है कि what's okay, what's not okay.
Yeah.
So if a parent tells me, it tells you, okay, oh, you're not earning enough or you're not doing this,
Yeah.
I don't have to start after a certain age. I don't have to
Yes.
start getting affected and take that voice out. That it's like
Exactly.
as long as I am at a place where I feel I'm
Yeah.
good for now, you
So,
know.
दो चीज़ें मुजफ्फर की बात से मुझे आई. पहली तो मैं डिस्क्लेमर हमेशा देना चाहती हूँ जब मैं किसी थेरेपिस्ट को लेके आती हूँ यहाँ पे, जब लोग आप लोग, एंड आई लव द क्वेश्चंस, प्लीज कीप देम कमिंग बिकॉज इट हेल्प्स अस शेड सम लाइट. ये तो
Yeah.
वो काम है जिसके साथ हम लाइक प्रोसेस लगा के टाइम लगा के होता है. देयर इज नो वन सोल्यूशन टू से ये करना शुरू कर दो और कल से ये चीज़ हो जाएगी. ऑल्सो अबाउट पेरेंट्स, if you are at the age when you're realizing this, the most likely the chances that it's now your turn to be a parent, either to yourself or to your child. So you can have your inner parenting now at this time getting ready. And I feel like it's almost a very, it's almost a pointless exercise कि अपने माँ बाप को जाके बोले, उनकी parenting तो हो गई. And also to make peace with that, right? Okay, I'm going to come to the next question. Also just flashing some friends supports and comments. In the meanwhile, Nabia is saying, if we realize what the voice is doing and we try to fix that, but outside forces will not let us move forward, how does one deal with that? I know you already spoke about boundaries, but if you want to briefly touch on this.
I think when we'll start talking about how to work on the not good enoughness thing, right?
Yes.
So what we do realize is that when we start this work
Yeah.
of healing that of the not good enoughness, right? We realize that the outside forces do not affect us that much to the
Yes.
point where they stop affecting us. And
Yes.
this is the journey of healing. This is the journey of growth. This is the journey of self discovery. Because once we
Yeah.
discover ourselves and our true self worth, then the
Yes.
outside forces are just noises.
Yes. Yes.
And I know these
Exactly.
outside forces becomes very difficult if it's very people very close to you. Magar uske
Yeah.
liye there is ways where you kind of cut off not the ties, but the
Yeah.
toxicity of it by engaging into that same role which you have been playing.
Yes. Exactly.
You know, ये तो
Yeah.
बड़ा लंबा conversation है, लेकिन
I
you know
know.
how the
I
process
know. I
goes.
get that. I get that.
So
And
like for even for example, if the outside forces, even if it's a family member, that does not mean that you will stop meeting your family member.
yes.
But what will happen is that when your family member says something that to you, it will stop affecting you. You would
Yes.
and you would tell them that, look, thank you, like very gently and politely, and you'll be able to say, I don't need this advice right now, rather than
Yes.
getting very angry, worked up, like,
Yes.
how dare you say this, and you always say this, and then when you get worked up, then they also get something, and then it becomes like a toxic cycle. So you have to
Yes.
kind of
Exactly.
move away from toxicity, but you can only do that when you feel that you're secure enough, because of course you also need their एक आपको
Support and
payoff हो रहा होता है, इवन
कुछ
टॉक्सिसिटी का भी एक पे ऑफ तो होता है,
बिल्कुल, हाँ.
you know.
आपकी आदत है, आपको भी अच्छा
Yeah,
लगता है, आपकी
yeah,
आदत हो गई, आपको पता ही नहीं है कि इसके अलावा कुछ हो सकता है. इट्स लाइक
yeah,
दस
yeah.
हजार चीज़ एग्जाम्पल्स आती हैं, फिर मैं सोचती नहीं मुजफ्फर इज ऑलरेडी ट्राइंग टू डू, अब मैं कितना उसके अंदर डालूं. और ऑल्सो नबिया, लाइक आई थिंक व्हाट मुजफ्फर सेड मेड मी थिंक अबाउट कि देखो दोनों फोर्सेस हमारे अंदर होते हैं, जस्ट लाइक द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ द टू वुल्व्स दैट लिव विद इन अस. It's when you decide and you understand. Now this that's the critical thing. जब तुम्हें समझ आएगा कि भाई मेरी good enoughness is dependent on how I feel about myself rather than how others, you take the power from them. and as you take the power from them, वो shrivel हो के काफी insignificant हो जाएंगे. मगर that's, I think मैंने अपनी personal journey और client की journey में ये देखा है कि जब ये power dynamic shift होता है ना, तो फिर how to's के tips ना खुद ही आ जाते हैं. And that's realizing कि यार मैं खुद कैसा हूँ versus वो. ठीक है जी. Zayan is saying salary negotiations are tough. Yes, when again, if you don't feel good enough about yourself, it's going to be very tough. Namra is saying, what if we feel, especially during the pandemic, that we aren't being a good enough parent? We're struggling between balancing work, home, and our child at home, and sometimes it just feels like our child is getting bored and neglected because work takes priority. How do we deal with that guilt?
Namra, I hear you.
I was just going to say, like,
it was a very
if you
elaborate.
heard her, I'm going to remove the question from here so that it's like taking half your face.
Able to draw down the process and what what's happening and what is it making you feel, and what it's making you feel is guilt. So the question I would ask you is something for you to reflect on is that what purpose is this guilt serving you?
Yeah.
And when you walk in your child and try to bond with them out of guilt, how are you?
Yeah.
Because when we are out of guilt, we try to kind of give them, acha ye bhi le lo, ye bhi kar lo, we'll get them toys. We cannot build an authentic relationship when we are with anyone if we are working out of guilt, right?
Yeah.
So the question is that, okay, you're aware. That's great that you're already aware that mujhe guilt hua hai. But when the guilt comes in, you ask yourself that, okay, do I need this guilt right now? Or, you tell yourself, like literally, like this is what you do. I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. And I forgive myself and have this faith that my kids will be okay. I think sometimes in parenting, we take such a short-term vision. कि अच्छा 2 दिन खराब हो गए तो सब खराब हो जाएगा. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But ये pandemic is a very tough time. So you have to bend the rules. That means that, for example, if your kids were having like 1 hour of screen time, and now because if they're at home all the time and you are so busy and everything, give them 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
They will be okay. 3 mahine, 4 mahine, 5 mahine, bend some rules. Be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to kind to your kids, right? Because if you start feeling that my kids are going to start like lagging and they will be like they will not be good then, because something might happen कि school खुलेगा और सारे बच्चे सही होंगे और मेरा बच्चा ये नहीं होगा. Trust me, majority of the parents are in the same boat. There's a lot of common humanity happening right now, that if your kid might be good in something, they might be struggling in something else, or they might be struggling in something else. Struggle ki noyat different hai, but struggle is very much universal, and it's magnified because of the pandemic. So the question is that if you're kind, your guilt to yourself, you will automatically start with feeling kind towards your child also. So whatever time you spend with them, it will be very authentic rather than guilt-driven.
Okay. So I know you spoke from a parental point of view, and I also want to extend the same question in a slightly different के pandemic में I think हम लोग general adults, parents कोई भी, हमारे अंदर भी ये जो not good enoughness है ना, वो amplify हो गई. क्योंकि अगर हमने खाने नहीं बनाए शेफ की तरह, और अगर हमने like sessions नहीं किए, या अगर हमने ये time को amazing family time नहीं बनाया, I don't know, और learning का जो हम पे pressure है कि अगर हमने 4 courses साथ में नहीं लिए तो फिर हम not good. So can you speak a little bit about that, because I think a lot of people right now have these crazy expectations of themselves कि वो work from home है तो क्या कर सकते हैं वो लोग.
Sure. So let's say जो हमारी जो not good enoughness जो है is let's say based on a facade, right? Let's say.
Yes.
And वो facade में क्या चीजें आती हैं? Where do we get our self-worth from? We get our self-worth from our jobs, our professional life, our social life, like people who we meet, and what we wear and all those kind of things, and our vacations and all those things, right? So all of a sudden, what's happening is that whatever we used to get our validation from has completely shaken now. So our sense of identity, we're not going to the office, so our routines are messed up. So, the structure which we have, we are working
Yeah.
out of the structure, and there's
Yeah.
uncertainty. So, jab uncertainty hoti hai, which is one of the basic needs of humans, is
Yes.
so that causes a lot of anxiety, and because
Yeah.
our identity, and we are operating on a lot of fear. So when you look at anxiety, fear,
Mm.
not good enoughness, they're all like very
Yes.
close to each other, right? Because
Yes, very
they're all
much.
like
I know.
neighbors.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
as a result, our fears are amplified. So with our fears,
Yeah.
the not good enoughness is also this thing, because maybe what if we've lost a job, or
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
company is making a loss now,
Yeah.
or there is this thing that we are not able to socialize with as many people as we were able to. So wherever we are drawing our self validation from has kind of stopped. So
Yes.
now it's like, okay, so I have to sit with myself and go through all my thoughts, and live with them and accept them, and I can't numb. कितना आप numb करेंगे? So
हाँ,
at some
और वो
point,
अनहेल्दी मतलब एक टॉक्सिसिटी आई जा रही है बड़ी ऑब्वियस सी नमनेस से ना। अब आप हर वक्त अगर लाइक
frustration बहुत है. There is a lot of frustration, and there is this thing, and I keep reminding myself and everyone there that we're in this together.
यस,
So of course, like, the filtered glossy Facebook pictures is also a facade, and
यस,
I mean, that's not something, but that's not exactly reality.
या,
The reality
या,
is, like, people don't put up and say that I had like the picture which in which they're looking extreme, like the true thing, without
यस,
like, when they wake up and all those,
यस,
and at the same time, like sharing their real vulnerabilities and issues which they are facing. They
या,
Yes, the chefs and the exercises, that's all great, but
यस,
there is more to life and more to it than which we are not able to see, and that's causing a lot of because वही comparison हो रहा है, and when
हाँ,
comparison हो रहा है तो हमारा not good enoughness जो है बाहर आ रही है.
या, या एग्जैक्टली एंड देयर इज सही बात है। यू सेड सोशल मीडिया, तो मुझे ख्याल है कि वाकई में सोशल मीडिया पे कितना ज्यादा ये कंपैरिजन का कॉन्सेप्ट है। इवन एज आई एम लाइक थिंकिंग माय हेड इज लाइक 5 steps ahead, लाइक तो कैसे खत्म करें इसको, इवन दो वी नो इट एंड वी आर गोइंग टू कम टू इट इन अ बिट, वी स्टिल हैव सम बिफोर वी गेट देयर, बट यस दैट इज अ क्वेश्चन दैट कम्स अप। सो थैंक यू फॉर आंसरिंग दैट। अब ये सवाल है कि ये एंड यू हैव टच्ड ऑन अ लॉट बिकॉज हमने क्वेश्चंस भी बीच में ले लिए कि ये क्रिटिकल वॉइस बढ़ती जा रही है और इसमें से काफ़ी एस्पेक्ट्स आपने बताए ऑलरेडी। इसके अलावा कैसे होगा, एंड देन रूही आल्सो वांट्स टू टॉक अ लिटिल बिट अबाउट अनसर्टेनिटी, जो मुझे भी लगा बिकॉज यू सेड मुजफ्फर अनसर्टेनिटी इज वन ऑफ आवर कोर नीड्स। आई नो एंथनी
Certainly.
रॉबिन्स डेफिनेटली सेज दैट
Yes, yes, and I'm
certainty
agreeing
and
with that.
uncertainty both
Yes,
both
yes.
are needs. So then isn't it like a paradox, like uncertainty भी चाहिए certainty भी चाहिए, तो कैसे decide करते हैं कि like क्या mix है या
I think so certainty is of certain things. Where will I
yeah,
get my next meal? And will I still have my job? And that's basic certainty. वो जो
yeah,
uncertainty की आप बात कर रही हैं, that's more like variety driven, like the
yes,
adventure part, right? मगर
exactly,
मगर even in that there is some element of control. We can go back to certainty if we want, but at
yes,
this point, I was looking at it that we are all missing the old world, but the
yeah,
new world has not arrived.
yeah,
We are still in
exactly,
transition, and
transition में है ना हम,
and
like
we've been
कहीं
in transition
purgatory में
for 4
फंसे
months
हैं।
now. And the thing is, अगर आप बहुत लंबी अगर फ्लाइट होती है तो एटलीस्ट आपको पता होता है कि कितना लंबा टाइम रह गया.
हाँ,
This is one thing
exactly,
in which we have no idea like how long this transition is for, right? So पहले
yeah,
हम लोगों ने
yeah,
बोला कि for example ईद तक सब सही हो जाएगा, तो a lot of thing was saying कि
yeah,
अच्छा, let's do it Eid. Now people are saying August, then someone said like end of the year. God,
yeah.
if it doesn't happen after till January, what's going to happen? you
Yeah,
know
I mean, I actually preferred people who were saying भाई 2022 तक कुछ नहीं होगा। मैंने कहा ये it's nicer to expect the worst and then come
Yeah,
back, मगर चीजें इतनी चेंज हो रही है कि obviously uncertainty हो ही जा रही
yeah.
है। ये मेरा सवाल भी है, लेकिन सलीना ने भी एक सवाल पूछा है। She's saying what are some of the signs when not being good enoughness manifests in grandiosity?
Yeah. So I think it's it's the same जो मैंने बात करी थी कि healthy self esteem एक तरफ shame है, एक तरफ
हाँ,
grandiosity है, right? तो आप अगर उस paradigm को और spectrum को दिमाग में लेके चलेंगे तो it will be able to explain how it manifests in grandiosity. So narcissism is one which we talked about. Gaslighting, in the sense, of into relationships, like I'm always right, not accepting mistakes, not being able to apologize,
yeah,
because apology would mean that I've made a mistake, and and
yeah,
and that
yeah,
would show that I might not be
exactly.
good
It's
enough,
you,
right?
it's not me. It's always
Yeah,
you.
it's you, it's not me, right? So it's almost
Yeah,
like playing a lot of mind games. There is this level of toxicity,
mm,
of not being able to see the other person's side
yeah,
of the story. It's all about me, me, me. And grandiosity could also show up in extreme neediness,
yeah,
and this
yeah,
thing that the world revolves around me. And then, for example, if you look at friends also, so like the person who's taking up all the time, like the group time, there's one person talking, and
attention hogging. Huh.
attention hogging, attention seeking, and there are mind games in
Yes.
these kind of things, right? So the not good enoughness is already coming because I'm not have a good relation with myself, right? So if I don't have a good relation with myself, how can I have good relationships with others? You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean? So the
yeah,
so how the good not good enoughness manifests into grandiosity is that I want to kind of hide that so much that
yeah.
I just want to go at like a mountain में खड़ा हो गया हूँ मैं ताकि people cannot really see the real me.
Mm,
I don't want to be seen. And when I don't want to be seen, I
yeah,
will I will make up stuff. I will gaslight. I would take attention. I will be the one who would spoil the surprises. I would make it
yeah.
about myself and the party pooper of sorts, of things.
You are talking, मुजफ्फर, और मेरे दिमाग में एक विजन आ रहा है. I'm a very visual person of a शेर जो कि घायल हुआ हुआ है, like wounded है, और वो
Yeah,
इतनी जोर जोर से गुर्रा रहा है तो लोग उससे डर रहे हैं. So people
yeah,
think that he's so powerful and mighty because, but he
yeah,
doesn't want anybody coming nearer him. तो हम भी as people, when we have this wound inside, हमारे अंदर भी ये खलिश होती है, तो I think हम लोगों को पुश करते हैं, हम लोगों को आने नहीं देते, बिकॉज हम वी आर टू स्कैर्ड कि कोई अगर किसी ने अगर देख ली ये बात तो क्या होगा. ठीक है. आई थिंक मुजफ्फर, इट्स दैट पॉइंट इन द कॉन्वर्जेशन व्हेन वी मूव टुवर्ड्स द सॉल्यूशंस. क्योंकि हमने लोगों को इतना बोला है कि ये भी होता है और ये भी होता है और ये भी होता है, एंड
so
द
there is
क्वेश्चन
hope.
इज देयर इज होप. ये
Yes.
सब होप में भी कुछ हो सकता है. दीज आर फिक्सेबल, हीलेबल, मैनेजेबल थिंग्स. एंड इस इनर वॉइस को या इस नॉट गुड इनफनेस को, इस क्रिटिकल वॉइस को हम कैसे मैनेज कर सकते हैं अपने अंदर, ताकि हम आगे अपनी पुश्तों को ना दें,
Yeah.
और अपनी जिंदगी को भी जरा मीनिंगफुल तरीके से स्पेंड कर सकें.
So you said something about कि दो शेर होते हैं, बीच में दो आवाजें जो जिसको how much you feed,
Yes.
and the more the voice which you feed, the more grows more, right?
Mm.
In terms of managing this damaging inner voice, right? So the
Yeah.
first of all, I think it is a process. ये कोई कोई क्विक फिक्स नहीं है कि मैंने कोई एक सेशन करा या कोई दवाई खा ली तो ये हो गया, या if I lose
Take
X
a
number
pill,
of
take the blue pill and you're like out of this.
anything like that. So it's not
Yeah.
like basically, it's not. So it's not that if I achieve this,
Yeah.
if I lose this weight, if I get this bank balance, तो इसमें conditionality तो है ही नहीं. It's a very internal process. So the way I look at it is that this is like an internal surgery which we are doing, and whenever we are doing a surgery, तो उसमें आपको बहुत ही compassion, tahammul, calmness की ज़रूरत होती है. You don't rush through it. You kind of are very patient. You take
I love
breaks.
that example. Yes.
You take breaks and you see that, okay, how much can I take in one sitting? That kabhi you have to kind of take multiple sittings to kind of go through the process. It's an ongoing process, right? So the first thing is that we need to build a practice of self-compassion. Because अगर आप compassion अपने आप को नहीं दे सकेंगे तो you cannot kind of do this so to say, surgery or the healing, right? And
Yeah.
how do I explain self-compassion? So the best way, Aruj, to look into self-compassion is that if my friend who I love is going through what I'm going through, for example,
Yeah.
how will I talk to her? What would I say? And what would, like, so notice the tone, the voice, the words of reassurance I'm using. And it
Yeah.
could be something along the lines of you're doing the best you can, and
Yeah.
go easy on yourself. Uh,
Yeah.
and I think that's something which is very very critical, because हम लोग जब औरों की बात आती है तो उनको हम बड़ा प्यार से बात करते हैं, but when we talk to ourselves, so start
Yeah.
noticing how we are talking to ourselves. तो एक
Yeah.
अगर आपने क्या कहते हैं ये वॉइस ऑफ नॉट गुड इनफनेस है, तो नाउ यू नीड टू स्टार्ट रिकग्नाइजिंग दिस न्यू वॉइस इन यू व्हिच इज द वॉइस ऑफ कंपैशन.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what is the voice of compassion telling you? And
Yeah.
like when we like talk, like hear to this voice, there's a lot of gentleness in this voice, there's a lot of like holding, because देखें ये एक चीज जो है जो बचपन से हमारे साथ थी, right? So it needs to be talked like how we talk to a child, and there's a lot
Yes.
of reassurance which needs to be given. I'm a big fan of positive affirmations. So, for example, like, and I think we were talking about it. This Marisa Peer is like a
Yes.
therapist, and she came up with this thing where, and like she was telling us about like how these big celebrities and all, like people who we think have got everything they want, you still suffer from the not good enoughness, right? So the positive
Yeah.
affirmation. So one is the compassion part. The other thing is positive affirmation. So every time you see yourself in the mirror, who do you see? And
Yeah.
what do you tell? You tell yourself that I am good enough. I am good enough.
Yeah.
And जो आप कह रहे
Tasbih.
हैं कि tasbih, yes. So good, I'm good
Exactly.
enough to tasbih, right? And when
Huh.
you say it with conviction, you say it with something you believe. You start connecting with yourself, and
Yeah.
and and you start seeing yourself of all parts, the good and the bad part. The dark
Yeah.
sides also. जो आपकी the things which you don't like about yourself because of
Yeah.
whatever reasons or core beliefs, you start giving love to those parts as well.
Yeah. But
And
Muzaffar, I wanna take you one step back, and
okay, tell me.
सवाल ये है कि because you said the first thing is to recognize this voice.
Yes.
एंड आई नो हम ये बात करते हैं थेरेपी में कि क्रिटिकल वॉइस को समझने के लिए लाइक आप कैसे पहचानेंगे कि ये आवाज क्रिटिकल है तो बिफोर
So yeah.
कमिंग टू सॉल्यूशन सो इज देयर एनी वे टू डू दैट
So I think once you start recognizing all the patterns, right?
या
So usually we don't start with saying I feel I'm not good enough or I keep hearing
या
this voice.
एग्जैक्टली
We
या
start we start we start recognizing patterns of like addiction and pleasing and whatever the patterns
या
which we talk about, however it shows up, right? Which
यस
kind of gives us some sign that what is happening, what's going on, right?
हाँ
And then Aruj, a lot of it is hypothesis, right? So we play with this idea, okay, could this be? Do you hear this voice? And sometimes I
यस
also say that, whose voice is it? And whose voice does it sound like? And sometimes,
या
sometimes
एग्जैक्टली
it's a bit painful, but sometimes it's our parents' voice which kind of shows
या
up, or
पेरेंट्स
what they used
सिबलिंग्स
to say,
मोहल्ले वाली
is
आंटी
coming up.
या
So the more internal work, the more when we're doing the surgery, internal
यस
surgery, we start this voice keeps coming up again and again, and this voice starts like shows up. So when this voice is there, you're facing that voice. So there is this fear.
यस
And that's where you have to be gentle, because जिसको हम कहते हैं resistance. I don't want to listen. I don't want to listen. Right?
नहीं नहीं ये तो है ही नहीं है ही नहीं मैं भाग जाऊंगी
Yeah.
मुझे ऐसी बातें नहीं करो मेरा दिल बैठ जाता है यू नो
So, and that's why it's courage. Self work is
Yes.
courage. Self discovery is courage. It triggers you. There is pain in it, but pain के बाद surgery में pain होती है, but उसके बाद ही healing होती है, right? So
Yeah.
once you kind of go over that hump,
Yeah.
then you'll be like, okay, and then you start realizing that the voice is not as bad or as loud. I can have a relationship with it, but I
Yes.
cannot be driven by it.
Yes. Yes.
I can kind of manage this voice by kind of saying that, okay, thank you, but I don't really need you. Thank
और
you for
जैसे
looking out for me.
exactly that's what I was saying because तुमने पहले भी ये बात बोली थी मुजफ्फर के आप उसको बोलिए thank you so you don't have to fight with the voice right
It's not fighting the voice, because whenever you're fighting, this voice came at a time in our evolution, in our life when we think it needed it. And as I said,
Yeah.
it starts off as very innocent,
yes
right?
हाँ.
And there is still, if we look at it, there is still innocence in it,
Yeah.
because it's coming from a place where, from a very early thing. So if we fight it,
Yeah.
it will exhaust us also, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
because then it's like one or the other, right? Like एक winner होगा fight में तो, मगर
Yeah.
if you build a
Exactly.
relationship with it, but like, look, I don't want to be driven by you anymore, and you are able
Yeah.
to recognize it, and every time it comes again, if you
Yeah.
recognize it, and if you already have made peace with it, it will stop haunting you.
Yeah.
जैसे
Exactly.
अभी होता है कि फॉर एग्जांपल लाइक आई हैव वर्कड फॉर इट फॉर मेनी इयर्स एंड समटाइम्स इट जस्ट शोज अप, यू नो
Yes.
कोई ऐसी बात हुई, कोई कोई एक्सटर्नल एनवायरनमेंट में ऐसी शिफ्ट हुआ कि लाइक दैट सेंस ऑफ द
Yeah.
गुड गेट्स ट्रिगर्ड, सो
Yes.
देन आई फील लाइक, सो आई हियर द वॉइस, मगर वंस यू
Yeah.
हर्ड द वॉइस एंड आपने इसका सामना कर लिया, तो आपका डर उससे कम हो जाता है, एंड जब आपका डर उससे कम हो जाता है, यू कैन कल्टिवेट अ बेटर रिलेशनशिप,
Yes, yes.
यू
I
नो
like to say कि जब आप feel करते हैं ना, तो my mantra is you feel and that's how you heal
feel
and
it to
then you
heal.
deal. So
Yes.
feel करना ज़रूरी है, own
Yes.
करना, and what you resist persists anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, अच्छा, so far I'm putting it down. You said self-compassion, therapy, affirmations. What
Affirmation.
else?
I also think finding your tribe, so finding your support group. I
Okay.
think there is a lot of connection and healing with human connection.
Yeah.
Uh, it is a process, but if you're able to find your tribe and like-minded people who kind of support you and just again, like helps you like give air to your wings, so to say.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
uh, 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 oh, Anita is saying something. Thank you. I don't
Yes.
really need you. How
Need
lovely to
you.
hear you say that. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
This what you said कि
Yeah.
कितना कितनी लिबरेटिंग है कि अगर
Yeah.
आप अपने फियर को, अपनी इस वॉइस को ये कहें,
Yeah.
यू प्रोटेक्टेड मी, यू
Yeah.
सर्व्ड मी, आपने मेरे लिए अच्छा सोचा, अच्छा किया, बट एट
Yeah.
दिस पॉइंट आई डोंट रियली नीड यू.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So I'm coming back to it: managing self-compassion,
Yeah.
therapy, affirmation, finding a tribe of people जिनके साथ आप authentic हो सकें.
Yeah. And Aruj, without being prescriptive now, I can give you some, I can also talk about some tools, right? So, for example,
Yeah.
like meditation is a big one.
Yeah.
Meditation definitely, it's a practice, and meditation helps us to go inward and kind of see
Yes.
our thoughts. And when these thought bubbles come and we kind of become an observer, we,
Yes.
तो हम लोग उसकी जो हमारी जो इन्वेस्टमेंट इन आवर थॉट्स होती है ना, वो भी आहिस्ता आहिस्ता लाइक वी अनबंडल स्टार्ट अनबंडलिंग इट, and we stop
Yes.
getting like so afraid of our thoughts. So a mindfulness practice, I'm a big believer and endorser of having a mindfulness practice, आप कह लें. So so meditation हो गई. Another great way is journaling.
Yes.
And the reason why I say journaling is that you're able to write, and a lot of your thoughts, which are in your unconscious, start coming up. And when it's
Yeah.
out there, it kind of gets out of your system as well. And you'll be
Yes.
surprised at how liberating it could be for you to be able to get it out,
Yeah.
of this thing.
Yes, exactly.
Working with a therapist, a coach, is definitely something which I mean has really benefited me, and
Yes.
and that's what actually led me to start become a therapist. And then of course, like a big part of my the reason for what I started VLC was that schools have an important role in it to play as well. So a
Yes.
lot of it, I think, it's the therapist, educationist, in सबकी responsibility to be able to help the parents also, because as I
Yeah.
said, that parents को भी इतनी knowledge नहीं होती है, because I mean it's very unconscious at a very level, right? So yes,
Yeah.
they need support and help also. So finding your tribe also means that support network of the people
Wow.
and the community which is able to help us out, right? By
Yeah.
being authentic, by sharing our vulnerabilities and sharing
Yeah.
our struggles, and then through that human connection, I mean,
Yes.
it's something very empowering to be able to be
Yeah.
seen and accepted, and
Yes.
that's the sense which the tribe can give you. You
Yes,
know?
exactly. Yes. To really be or to show up, and because हम
Yes.
कहते हैं ना बचपन में भी, like when you're not seen, the things you do to be seen.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
So there's self-compassion, therapy, affirmations, finding your tribe, journaling, mindfulness, meditation, acceptance. Yeah, that's a nice list. So
It's
we
a
will,
process, right? So you have to kind of see whatever is working for you. And again, I don't want to, and as I said, it's a process, right? So I'm not saying you start doing all of these things at one go. You
yes,
start with one thing, and then you take up something else. And then what you will start realizing it, and it's a beautiful process because your doors and newer doors start opening. So
yes,
you start, when you are ready to find your tribe, you'll meet
yeah,
your tribe.
yeah.
It's a
And
magical
so again,
process.
हाँ मैं वही कहने वाली थी कि देखिए ये इसमें भी आप ये नहीं कर सकते कि आप you can't be seeing like क्यों नहीं हो रहा like why is it not happening. It is a process.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
almost like when you are ready it will find you, you know when you're ready you will find the thing. सारे doors खुलना शुरू हो जाएंगे. You kind of have to sort of will yourself, I don't know, head and heart to be ready.
There is hope, there is faith, there's a lot of like emotions, and so the thing with after facing difficult emotions, there is a lot of
Yeah.
bliss also.
Yes,
It's like
yes.
waves, ना? Waves आती हैं
हाँ.
तो बहुत होती हैं, which is very difficult, and then this calmness. So you're able
Yes.
to enjoy that serenity and the calmness, but you cannot enjoy and this thing if you're not able to, if you're not able to go through the roughness, the ebbs
Yes.
and flows of life.
Yeah. So Muzaffar, if you had to kind of like go with one simplest action that the people viewing here could
Oh
start,
God.
यानी कि कोई नहीं क्योंकि नहीं it's
Yeah.
okay. I'll start with what I am thinking and maybe you
Yeah.
can take the वो. मैं सोच रही थी कि इतनी सारी बातों में because हमेशा मुझे लगता है कि हम तो अपने हिसाब से बहुत सारी चीज़ें बता रहे होते हैं कि किसी को क्या चीज़ पसंद आ जाए. And
Yeah.
at the same time it can start with मैंने बहुत आजकल देखा है mini habits, small step, baby step. कोई एक चीज़ जो बहुत आसान हो सकती है उससे अगर आप स्टार्ट करें तो आप अपने नॉट गुड इनफनेस को भी हील करेंगे. और आप आपसे ही शुरू है, आप अपने आप से शुरू
Yeah.
करिए. फिर बाद में प्लीज इंस्टेड ऑफ लुकिंग टू आवर किड्स एंड आवर पेरेंट्स एंड आवर रिश्तेदार एंड लोग,
Yeah.
ये जो इनविजिबल आर्मी है ये बहुत बड़ी है, आप इससे नहीं टैकल कर सकते, आप सिर्फ
Yeah.
अपने से कर सकते हैं. तो थिंक अबाउट इट कि कोई अगर सबसे क्या चीज़ जैसे I'll go with what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And then sort of like you
I'm
can
trying
take
to
on
pick
yours.
which one, but go ahead first.
Exactly. मैं भी पिक करने का सोच रही हूँ. तो मुझे तस्वीर बहुत पसंद है. तो आई लाइक द आइडिया कि अगर हम लोग रोज मेरी कल एक कॉन्डो में एक लड़की आई तो वो मुझे बता रही थी क्योंकि somebody gifted me a mindfulness journal yesterday, was my birthday this month. तो उसको मैंने दिखाया तो कहती कि तुम्हें पता है कि रोज मैं जर्नलिंग करती हूँ और उसमें 3 प्रॉम्प्ट्स होते हैं, आई एम डैश, आई एम डैश, आई एम डैश. तो हम अपने आप को ये एफर्मेशन में लिखती हूँ, लेकिन एक एफर्मेशन जो मेरी कंसिस्टेंट होती है वो इज आई एम गुड इनफ. So it's only the repetition of scribing, writing, saying out loud, I am good enough. Like, yeah, you are good enough. Yeah, I am okay. Or I am enough. अगर हम सिर्फ इससे भी शुरू करें तो I am positive कि आहिस्ता आहिस्ता कहीं जाके ये trickle होगा. So that's my one like kind of tip. What about you?
Yeah. I was about to say start therapy.
Yes, of course.
I mean, that was okay. So that for me was one of the first steps. Let me put it that way.
Yes.
और उसके बाद फिर different चीजें आहिस्ता आहिस्ता सामने आना शुरू, because उससे पहले तो I didn't even realize it. Because as I said, like I had so many achievements.
Yeah.
That I'm like, हाँ सब तो सही है. So I think I can share what worked for me.
Yeah.
Therapy. But if you think that you're okay with journaling, writing how you're feeling, you can go ahead with your writing. If you think that, you can start with meditation, there are lots of apps. For example, you get Headspace, uski 10 minute, you can do it per day.
Yeah.
Kahin na kahin se start kare and then see what leads to the other, but set an intention that I want to heal myself. I want to, overcome this. Change in mindset is very, very important. बिकॉज अगर
Yeah.
आपका माइंडसेट ये है कि मैं गुड इनफ नहीं हूँ एंड आप विक्टिम में ही फंस जाएं,
Ah.
victimhood के अंदर,
Uh-huh.
so then you will always stay there. That will become your comfort zone. So you have to
Yeah.
change your mindset and get out of the victim thing. आप उसके
Yeah.
बाद when you're out of the victim consciousness, then you can manifest. You can visualize like how you want your life to be, and then
Yeah.
from a victim consciousness you can go into a manifester consciousness, right?
Yes.
Ruby said gratitude, and when you were talking about, then you said like diary mein every 3 things I write. Gratitude journal is a game changer.
Yeah.
3 things I'm grateful for, and you write them down, is a game changer. It rewires our brain, and from a
Yes.
complaining perspective, thing, it rewires into a state of gratitude. And
Yeah.
if we could do that on a constant, everyday basis, I mean, we'll see like beautiful things
Yes.
starts happening.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so too. I want to second that. और मैंने देखा इतनी रेजिस्टेंट होती है. मैंने मैंने क्लाइंट्स, फैमिलीज, फ्रेंड्स के साथ ट्राई किया कि भाई मुझे एक चीज बता दे, खाली एक चीज, व्हाट आर यू ग्रेटफुल फॉर. हम इतने विक्टिम माइंडसेट में होते हैं कि हमसे तो कुछ भी करवा लो, ये मत, हाउ कैन वी एडमिट दैट समथिंग इज गुड, बिकॉज वी आर इन दैट. तो हमसे ये कहा नहीं जाता. हम अपने मुल्क को देख लें, अपनी फेसबुक को देख लें,
Yeah.
अपने डे टू डे, लाइक व्हेन समबडी टेल यू व्हाट्स अप, दे विल टेल यू समथिंग नेगेटिव. हमारा इतने डीपली इंट्रेंच्ड है. तो अगर हम इस विक्टिम से, व्हाट इज द ऑपोजिट, सर्वाइवर, नो, व्हाट इज द
Thriver.
अदर माइंड, थ्राइवर. सो अगर हम विक्टिम से थ्राइवर माइंडसेट पे जाए, टू नर्ड्स टुगेदर, सो
Yeah.
तो फिर आई आल्सो
उसका
थिंक
बड़ा
दैट्स अ
आसान
बिग.
लिटमस टेस्ट है अरूज. I don't know how much time we have, but उसका बड़ा आसान लिटमस टेस्ट ये है कि why are so victim always think things are happening to me,
Yeah,
and a thriver always thinks
exactly.
things are happening for me.
Yes, yes.
So even like in this pandemic thing, and I've been on my victim. I have had days of being
Yeah,
feeling like a
we
victim.
all
Okay,
have.
I've worked so hard and this and that. So why is it happening to me?
Yes.
Then basically जो है, when we shift our mindset that okay, so why is it happening for me, your
Yeah,
completely mindset completely changes, and then you start thinking
yeah,
अच्छा, something it's happening, so I'll learn something, it will lead me
yeah,
lessons, there'll be a silver lining. You start seeing you start seeking, it's but a simple rule है कि if I tell you to look for something, you will, if I say close your eyes and start looking
yeah.
for something red in your room, right?
Exactly.
You'll see everything red. I was like, did you see anything
Yes.
green? You will not
Yeah.
recall it
Of
because you were
course.
looking for red.
Exactly. Exactly. So true. I love this example. बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. I know. And यही है. और also like ये भी मुझे तो sign लगता है कि you said this happened to me and for me. I also like to think they did it, I did it. So the
Yes,
minute you decide that I'm in charge,
yes.
I did. So what did I do? It's
Taking
about you did it
responsibility.
to me, you said that, you made me feel. So you made me feel instead of saying I felt this. खैर वो तो एक, मुझे लगता है कि हम अलग conversation में चले जाएंगे. This has been amazing, but we crossed our 1 hour mark जो हमने agree किया था. So
Yes.
Muzaffar, this has been amazing, and I hope that people take away a lot from this. It's, I mean, we've had this conversation, हमने offhand भी किया था, मगर फिर भी इस दफा भी it's like all my light bulbs keep going, and I love the fact that there is always hope. I think the first is to realize कि हाँ, क्या मैं इस victim mindset में, मैं इस not good enoughness में, मैं इस insecurity, इस low self esteem के साथ operate करता हूँ और कैसे manifest करता हूँ, and if I want to go to a thriver, what can I do? So, do you have any concluding remarks, Muzaffar?
I really enjoyed having this conversation, and this is such a rich topic, and it touches so many of us, in different ways, that I'm really happy to be able to contribute and share what we have
Yes.
shared, and I really hope that people can get some value out of it and start working and with patience, with love and compassion. Self-compassion is key, and if we can start, working on it, and it's a process.
Yes.
And I mean, it can be a beautiful process. Don't be scared of the
Yes.
pain.
Yes. Not at all.
It's
Thank
worth
you
it.
so much, Muzaffar. I think we were quite good enough.
I think we were more than good enough.
Yes, that's true. I will see
Thank you
you
so much.
offline. Thank you so much. Take care. Rui
All
is
right,
saying,
great.
please do things regularly. We will definitely come back with more. All right.
Inshallah. Thank
Thank
you.
you, guys.
Allah
Thank
Hafiz.
you. Bye.
Allah Hafiz. Bye.